Okay, welcome to the live stream that almost was not going to happen. I am telling you, one step forward, three steps back is the name of my game. I um I made the mistake of thinking that I knew what I was doing, and as it turns out, whenever I do that, it becomes quickly obvious that I really don't know what I'm doing. So, luckily, about 30 minutes before the stream, I realized I had a technical problem, and yeah, I managed to fix it. At least I hope so. See, my mic wasn't working, so when a mic doesn't work, that means that you don't hear me. But it looks like my mic's working now, so hopefully all y'all can hear what I'm saying. So I'm going to greet Sass Squash with a lovely aloha and shakalak. Not again. I know, right? It's the story of my life. As I said on my last stream, the simplest of simples is not always so simple. Andre, hey, yeah, let's see here. Yeah, at least I'm still walking and it's better than one fall forward and two falls back. Exactly. Andre, good to see you, by the way. I noticed that you were missing last Thursday, and I can only assume, in fact, you've been missing from a lot of the streams, from various streams that I'm used to seeing you at. I'm assuming it has something to do with going back to work, but awesome that you're able to go back to work. I hope that you are able to stay safe. Yeah. Oh, Mariana, good to see you. And shock, exactly. Simple is not the same thing as easy. Yeah, the problem, Terry Gilmore, quick aloha, can't stay long. Glad you were able to show face. If you have to leave, that's fine, but stay as long as you can. Super stoked that you were able to swing by even for just a second. Because as I've been saying, this is a stream that almost was not a stream. I, yeah, okay, Andre, first week back, and then you had car problems, so public transit. Yeah, that's not cool. Car problems, of course. Of course you had car problems on the first week of school. When else would the car problems happen? And public transit probably expanded your commute time to like 3 times what a car would be. So suddenly everything's all cattywampus. Yeah. Let's see. YouTube is a stream within a stream. Oh, wait, wrong movie. Yeah, exactly. And actually, no, this wasn't YouTube's fault at all. This was total and complete user error. See, as you guys know, I've got a fancy pants mic, I've got little stream deck, and this, that, and the other thing. Now, to be honest, the first several times that I used the Elgato mic, I did not bother to download any of the Elgato software, and it worked just fine. But then when I got the Stream Deck, I was like, all right, cool, let's download all the softwares for all of the things. Well, the Stream Deck software has this plugin for a voice modulator that my computer doesn't want to acknowledge as legit. Like, it thinks it's malware, so I keep getting this stupid error message. I've tried to fix it, and it's still happening. But in the name of fixing it, or it's not fixed, in the name of trying to fix it, I uninstalled, famous last words, I uninstalled a bunch of stuff. And in uninstalling a bunch of stuff, suddenly my Streamlabs just decided that it would not recognize the microphone anymore at all, even though I didn't do anything to touch my Streamlabs OBS settings. So I don't know how or what. So today I'm all getting my, I got things reinstalled, and I got my Stream Deck set up because I'm fancy. And so I go to plug in my mic, and I realize my mixer is just not picking up my mic at all. And we've got 30 minutes until the stream, right? So as someone who's not tech savvy at all, this is the time for panic. Really, it is. And so I did. But I also did a bunch of stuff while I was panicking. And frankly, I don't really know what I did to fix it, but I fixed it. So here we are. And that's where I am at the tech level that I am. I know about settings and how to like find them, but I don't know which settings should be what. And basically I throw it at the wall until it sticks. Yeah. So follow me for more, tech savvy tips on how to work your stuff. Yep. All right. So looks like we've got E.T. Guerrero here. Good to see you, Elaine. And Cindy Krause, finally found you. Fantastic. Let's see here. So Andre, public transit changed a lot in the year, more since you've used it. Oh, obviously. I think everything's changed a lot in the year or so since we've used it, right? I mean, yeah. Yeah, El Gato, that tricky cat at times can scratch me. Normally, El Gato is just a beautiful purring kitten, but something happened today to make it go, feel a little bit growly and hissy, I guess. Yeah. So, Shock, you've closed many tickets with did X, Y, and Z. One of them worked. All right. Well, I guess I'm glad that this is how tech works, and I'm mastering it in the best way in the only way tech will be mastered, which is, yeah, see if it works. Just try. Let's just see. No, didn't work. Oh well. Figure something out. The button that you were supposed to be able to press isn't here, so go do another Google search. Yep, that's me. Family can be like tech, but with family, you do not have any updates or patches. You can't reinstall them. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And luckily, though, I'm an independent unit. I generally don't have a lot of family plugins that are operating within my system, so it's all good that way. Yeah, no, Shakalak, troll the logs and then find Google them. No, the voice, the plugin, like it's the strangest thing with this. I've got the error. If I don't keep the error up, it keeps popping up. So I've just got the error up on my system right now. It's a voice mod plugin.exe system error. The code execution cannot proceed because VC runtime 140.dll was not found. Reinstalling the program may fix this problem. Well, that's a big lie. Reinstalling the program about 85,000 times didn't fix nothing. And when I did some research on it, basically what it boils down to is, oh yeah, it's a legit program, but Windows thinks it's a malware. So, yep, there you go. And everybody's like, well, just uninstall it. Just go to the uninstall and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, this is a plugin deep within another program. You don't just go to the uninstall menu and uninstall it because it ain't on the menu to uninstall. Every single little stupid suggestion that the internet has given to solve this problem is just like, look, man, I don't know nothing. And even I know how to try that. And it didn't work before I Googled you. How on earth are you making a video of this working? Because that voice mod plugin doesn't show up on my list like it shows up on yours. Screw all y'all. So basically, I just have the error floating around and bothering me and getting in my way. And I'll eventually fix it, I guess. I hope. I don't know. I mean, how do you do? I don't know. Hey, Uilani, good to see you. Thank you so much for showing up this afternoon on Chatter with Statter. Let's see here. So yeah, Windows Defender for the lose, Shakalak, you have got it. And so aside from the tech woes, so the tech woes actually are the secondary problem to the problem of this stream. I have to give a huge shout out to Michael Anthony Smith. Yesterday, when I posted the link and the reminders to this show today, he, within minutes, emailed me or messaged me. He's like, Sunday, August 21st doesn't exist. So are we talking Saturday, August 21st or Sunday, August 22nd? So, immediately, I corrected him, told him what the right day was, and went and had to fix, everything. And of course, the one day that I'm like, hey, I'm going to advertise on Twitter because I'm fancy, is the one day that I get the day wrong on my ad. So, yeah, I had to go back and fix that and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't an ad. It was just a tweet. I didn't pay for it. Anyway, thank goodness for Michael Anthony Smith for bringing that to my attention because I would have just sown confusion. And it's already confusing enough getting to this stream sometimes. Those of you who were there for that 3-start day know that just finding me can be tricky. So I really do try to make it as clear as possible. I know the end result isn't as clear as it could be, but I try to make it as clear as possible. Yeah, Shakalak, thank you for bringing that up. I was actually going to be giving shouts out. That was the next topic. Today, you guys, is a super special day on Chatter with Statter. Thanks to everyone here and lots of people who aren't here. All of us have reached the 100 subscriber mark. Now, I am not changing my URL. I did not change my URL, customize it before the show for a couple reasons. First off, if I did that, I wasn't sure if the reminder link would work. But the real reason why I didn't do it is because I don't know how to do that. But it's on my list of things to do later today or maybe tomorrow, because I'm so excited that we reached that first goal of 100. I think it was like in 50 days, which is pretty good. So that obviously is, of course, to people like Andy Bumatai and Photoluke Hawaii, both of whom have regular followers who did the gracious, gave me a gracious favor to check out my show, follow it a little, subscribe if it caught their fancy. So thanks to everyone around the world. We've reached 100 subscribers, and hopefully we'll just keep growing strong. I can't tell you how excited I am about that, though. So thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed yet, shoot, hit the subscribe button so I get the 101. And if you want to hit that like button, obviously hit the like button. If you want to hit the dislike button, feel free, because it's engagement that matters. So I'm all good. Yeah. So let's see here. My spreadsheet gets bigger and bigger every day. Well, Andre, yeah, actually, the spreadsheet that I use for the Daily Pigeon Show gets bigger and bigger every day. Andy keeps adding some movies, and I actually have a couple drops as well, and other little things that Andy's done for me, which is so awesome. Oh, Andre, I'm going up a little bit further here, but you, wouldn't it be strange if people had error messages trying to explain their error or mental illness and the program to fix it? Oh, I don't know if I would want that error message to be readily available for everyone, but I do think that an error message for humans could come in handy for sure. It's like, not in the mood. I'm feeling depressed today. Error, sad. Yeah, I'm super excited, eMusic. Good to see you too, that I got to the 100. So this channel, we are growing, so spread the word. And, it's all, this channel basically is all about learning and things and stuff. And so, I want everyone to share their successes and failures with me in regards to what it is they're learning how to do, because we're all being dragged along on this journey that I'm on, which is learning how to do things and stuff. That's right. Things and stuff. So, I've got some notes here, because for those of you who were here on the last stream, we talked about a couple different things. And one of the things that we talked about was this neighborhood right here. We drove through, and that, if you remember correctly, is 3 Tree Point. I wanted to touch base on this topic for a couple things. First off, when I was going through the this neighborhood with y'all last week or last Thursday, we were talking about how this neighborhood puts on a 4th of July party, and the city encourages folks to go see that 4th of July party because the city does not put on an official 4th of July party. I pointed out there wasn't a lot of access for the public to reach this neighborhood. And I believe it was Ann Ware who astutely pointed out or asked, like, well, what about bus routes? And can you take the bus? Phenomenal question. Did not have an answer to it. I have an answer now. The answer is there are no bus routes that even come close to that neighborhood. You would have to walk more than a mile downhill to get there and then a mile uphill to get home. So bus routes are not even a thing, which makes it so flippin' silly for the city to encourage this. Now, this is the part that makes me giggle. So when we went through this neighborhood last week, I did point out all of the outbuildings that were on the side of the shore. And as it turns out, I was a big liar. I said the city has no plans to call the residents on these illegal structures. Well, as it turns out, the day after my stream, the city manager, who's sort of like our mayor, but not, it's a hired position. It's hard to explain. I won't get into it. But the city manager decided that all of those permanent structures are illegal, and the city will most likely be pursuing legal action to get them removed. The city council was not the group that initiated this letter. It was initiated by the city manager, but the city council, virtually every single member of the city council has signed on to that letter. So all of these outbuildings that you see on the right-hand side just might go away. And yeah, so that filled me. Oh, I got to tell you, it filled me with a little bit of glee. As you might have guessed from my tone and from some of the comments when we were going through that neighborhood, it was really a shame that all of those buildings are blocking access to the beach. The homeowners insist that it's legal. They have legal right to that land. The city insists that that land has been eased by the city for future roadways and or public beach access. So we're going to see just how this plays out in court. I do know that a similar, few years ago in like 2016, a similar issue was brought to the Supreme Court of the state of Washington. I'm not sure. I didn't read enough of the article to find out how that worked out. But from what I can glean, I don't think the homeowner ended up on the winning side of that battle. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to maybe getting access to a lovely new beach. The place looks a bit like a town, Andre, in Marin County called Bolinas. I've heard of Bolinas, but yeah, I've never been there. I wouldn't know. But yeah, it's a cute, I would hate to live there, and I would love to live there, right? You know, with access to the beach, wonderful, beautiful. But you're so cramped and so close, and the access to your neighborhood is so limited. I think it would just drive me nuts. Oh, Curtis, you made pasta from scratch today. A solid B+ first effort. First time, but pretty easy, grinding while watching. Oh, fantastic. You know, I've never made pasta before, but it always seems like I always want to, because it seems like it's the most decadent, tasty, wonderful thing. And, you know, they make it look so easy, but I know from experience that anytime kneading dough with flour and whatever, I'm going to mess it up. I'm going to overwork it. It's going to turn tough. I just don't have the touch when it comes to that, or I feel like I don't. Making pasta is so intimidating to me. I'm so glad that you decided to be brave and do the pasta thing. Andre, lying is only lying when you know you're doing it, otherwise unintentional. Yeah, okay, well then I wasn't lying. I was unintentionally spreading very bad info. And actually, to tell you the truth, on Thursday, it wasn't necessarily bad info. It was the latest information that I had been given. Literally the very next day is when that letter was sent. So, I mean, I guess technically it wasn't even bad information at the time, but currently it is bad information. And the new information is, oh, the homeowners are so angry. They're going to have to spend money fighting the city in a legal battle. So sad. Let's see here. In California, we have a coastal commission that takes care of beach access and building and development. Yeah, you would think with all of the coastline that Washington has, that we would have something similar, but no. To my knowledge, we do not. Oh, shock, your husband curses a lot when he makes pasta. Okay, well, that makes sense then. That my fear, if your husband, who is sort of, has chef-like qualities, finds it a little bit curse-worthy, then my fear of the pasta is seriously legit, it sounds like. E-music, nice update that neighborhood. Yeah, I know, right? Update it so we can do the beaches. Because actually, technically, I do know this. The city has plans, or not plans, but there's a chunk of land on that area that the city owns, and they actually do want to make a park. But the access to that park is just would be so ridiculous. If you were here last Thursday, you saw the trip to where I'm talking about. And so access is still going to be an issue, but the city absolutely has plans to put a park in that neighborhood. The homeowners are not happy about this plan, but in my city, we have miles upon miles of coastline, and I would say less than 3/4 of a mile is available for public use. The rest of it is privately owned. And I'm not okay with that, frankly. It kind of annoys me. So there we go. Lona, in Weed, California, the I-5 exit sign for weed is often stolen. Of course it is. And if it's not stolen, people stop by and take pictures of themselves. I'm pretty sure if I go back in my photo albums from my college road trip across the country, to Atlanta, I'm 99% sure I've got a picture of me, or if not me, my travel companions in front of the weed sign. I mean, that is iconic I-5 California right there. So let's see here. In Bolinas, the locals steal the sign to the town so the tourists cannot find it. That's funny. That's funny. So let's see here. No, I didn't know that the volcanoes were erupting in Greenland right now, Anne-Marie Silva. I kind of feel like, isn't there always a volcano erupting in Greenland? Yeah, that's funny. So, oh yeah, shock. Now see, this is right. This is a very good question. Curtis, did you use hard wheat flour for your pasta? Because hard wheat flour apparently is the key. Whereas for proper biscuits, you need to use the soft wheat flour. And shock, on that note, my best guess is if Curtis is, I don't remember where Curtis lives, but if he's outside of the South, he probably by default used hard wheat flour because we cannot find soft wheat flour, like on the West Coast and in the northern states, which is why all of our biscuits out here are tough and horrible because we actually don't have the right kind of flour that make the soft and fluffy biscuits the way the Southerners do. So I'm sure in Virginia, you probably have multiple types of flour to choose from. Whereas up here in the Pacific Northwest, it's all the flours are hard wheat. I mean, there's self-rising, there's cake, there's bread and all purpose, but they're all hard wheat flours, not the soft flours that you need for the tasty biscuits. So Curtis, no, I think Curtis, you probably did use hard wheat flour by default. My best guess is, so yeah. Oh, shock. This is an Italian hard wheat, soft wheat holy war that Scott's talking about. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I've always been told that it's the hard wheat, the semolina flour that produces the ideal pasta, Italian pasta, but, who knows? I might've been told wrong. Yes. And yes, Patrick McCleary, Weed Chat with Statter could literally be the entire show, but we're not going to do that today. However, speaking of shows, it does seem like a lot of folks really responded to the roller derby topic. So I was thinking if you guys could message me, put in the comments, whatever. If you guys want to talk about roller derby again, and you've got like some other questions or this, that, and the other thing, I would love to do another roller derby show because talking derby is always so fun. But I'm not really sure what the focus should be. So input from all of you all on what you want to chat about, what you're wondering about in regards to roller derby. If you're wondering anything, I'd love to hear it so we can talk about it again. Yeah. Yeah, oh, the whole chain in Greenland and the chain in Antarctica right off of Antarctica. The whole world is on fire in more ways than one. Yeah, you are right. That ring of fire is almost always going, and right now it does seem to be flaring up way harder than usual. Yeah, Andre, exactly. Back to the flour. I had a whole different concept or a whole different idea of what we were going to talk about today. But instead, let's talk about baking. Yeah, about the flour. Yeah, it's the semolina hard flour on the West Coast. It's very difficult to find the soft flour that Shock probably has access to because she's in Virginia. And I do believe that Virginia is considered the South. So, all right. So, wait. Now that it's done, your husband's going to find out what hand-pulled noodle is made from. Oh, I think hand-pulled noodle, at least they're made a lot of different things. But I know that buckwheat flour is used for soba. It's like a 90% buckwheat, 10% regular wheat type thing. Do not quote me on that ratio. And I'm sure every noodle maker has their own secret ratio that they prefer. But yeah, buckwheat flour is what soba noodles are made from. That much I know. Soft flour is hard. Okay, Andre, from my understanding, and boy, I want someone to correct me on this if I'm wrong, but there's two kinds of wheats. It's like winter wheat and summer wheat. Winter wheat is generally the hard wheat, and then summer wheat is generally the soft wheat. And I could be really getting my wires crossed on that. But I do know there's varieties of wheat, and some of it is considered hard and some of it is considered soft. And the soft wheat produces the better biscuits, whereas the hard wheat, I'm told, produces the better pasta. But it sounds like there might be an argument about the pasta and which flour is better. And I'm not going to get into that because, as we discussed earlier, I've never made pasta. No, Patrick, it's not flour that needs a pill. You're so silly. So, okay, Shock, you can get super soft flour, but you don't. Okay, all right. But still, though, so you know what I'm talking about with the hard and the soft. Yeah, because you have access to it. Not everywhere in the rest of the country has access to that. There's actually plenty of articles about why us northern folks can't make biscuits. And ultimately, it comes down to we just can't get the right flour here. Oh, Cindy, what'd you do? You tried to make rye bread once and forgot the yeast. Oh, no. So you added beyond the end, threw it in the, okay, hold on. Oh, this is going to be funny. All right. So, all right, we got to start all over again because this is hysterical. Cindy Krause tried to make rye bread once and forgot the yeast. So I added beyond the end of mixing, threw it in the trash and left. It rose over the top of the trash and onto the floor. A boot. Yeah, that is a bummer because honestly, I mean, first off, what a mess, right? But also what a waste, because if I hadn't made that same mistake, I would have had no qualms about throwing it away because obviously it's ruined. Obviously it's not going to work. And obviously I don't know what I'm talking about because clearly the yeast did something there and it worked just fine. So, oh, right. Yeah, chocolate. Okay, yeah, it has to do with the protein count, of course, protein content of the wheat, of course. And yeah, I know that you can't eat it. But it sounds like you've got the pasta maker in your house who is obviously making a little bit of pasta at times. So, yeah, that's it. Patrick, Cindy had a brand new method for making rye. She could have marketed it. It's called it trash can rye. Made a fortune off of her brand new method. So let's see here. Okay, Andre, he's all Googling and thinks soft flour is split into pastry flour and bread flour. So says Google. Yeah, that's still okay. Well, thanks Google, but that's not that helpful to me, but that's okay. So let's see here. Fake noodle is called an impasta. I think you might be onto something there, Patrick. Can he make rice noodles though, Andre? I mean, really do homemade people make rice noodles? Because can't you just buy those in a pack instead? Do people really make rice noodles at home? That seems. I've never used rice flour, so I don't know how much more or less difficult it would be to make rice noodles. But it seems like I've never heard anybody attempting that at home. Lona, oh, yes. So, I wish Comfortably Yum were here because Comfortably Yum could go off on this topic for days upon days. But you are correct. Speaking of wheat farmers apply Roundup uniformly ripen for harvest. That is 100% correct. Roundup is not just used for the insect control, like they say. They also, and I do believe that this might be an off-label use, like they're not really supposed to, but they do. When you harvest wheat or any crop all at once, inevitably, some of it is ripe, some of it is not ripe, and some of it is overripe. If you've ever grown a garden, you know that for the most part, all of your tomatoes do not turn red at the exact same time all at once. So same thing with wheat. And so what the farmers do is they spray a few days before they're going to harvest, they spray the Roundup so the immature wheat somehow matures fast enough so it becomes mature alongside the other matures, and it increases their harvest. So essentially, you're getting some wheat that has been. You're getting wheat kernels that have been treated with Roundup just days before harvested and dried and stored and processed. Unlike what you would think, which is like, oh, the stuff for the insects, that was early that was a while ago. It was no, dude, like your wheat is coated with it 3 days before they harvest it. And obviously organic, that is not the case. But for a lot of places that use the genetically modified wheat that is designed to work with Roundup, that's exactly what they do. It's kind of an industry standard. It's really disturbing. Oh. So wait, all right. Gross. All right, Chocolate. When you go on vacation, your husband eats grouper sandwiches, and I come home, find all kind he's been having to feed to the birds because he can't finish it. I don't even know what a grouper sandwich would be. Is that a fish? And I don't know, dude. Grouper sandwich doesn't sound tasty to me. Yeah, they say it inactivates very quickly and goes inert, but I don't trust what Monsanto has to say about their chemical. That's what it boils down to. So, yeah, butter mochi looks really good. I've never made it, but the recipes do the recipes for butter mochi look very, very tasty, and I have thought about buying the ingredients for it. So, yeah, okay, so you don't like fish and you can't do bread, so he goes on a fish and bread spree. That makes sense, Chocolat, but I can't help but wonder, as someone who doesn't like fish, and then you come home, like, I'll bet you the house smells like fish. I mean, even if he's cleaned everything to the most perfect, I'll bet you can, if you don't, I'll bet you still smell that fish, don't you, when you come home from vacation? Yep. I'm guessing that. Oh, okay, well, you asked the DuPont chemist, not the Monsanto one. Well, that's fantastic. I'm about as likely to trust a DuPont chemist as I am to trust a Monsanto chemist, but that's okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I fully eat wheat or bread that is not organic. I'm not like that hoity-toity. I'm not that rich. I'm not that whatever. I just know that's the practice, and yep, there you go. So yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, organic does have some very interesting chemicals that come from plants, and what is considered organic versus not organic is a whole other argument that I actually don't know enough about to even get into, but I do recognize that it's there. All I know is, I trust Monsanto is about as far as I can throw them. But that, my friends, that's not a topic for chatter. That's a serious topic. And here at Chatter with Statter, that's no fun. We want to talk about fun stuff. We want to talk about silly stuff. So I'm going to completely change the, yeah, exactly. Hemlock is organic, says Chuck. I'm going to completely change the topic here. We're going to go into reverse. We're going to do a bunch of things. We're going to go backwards because, I wanted to show you this video a week ago. And actually, before I show this video, I'm going to show a different video for just a second. So Ann Ware was wondering, and I wish Ann was here, but she's not. But Ann Ware was talking about various and assorted ways to do filming the other day. And one thing that you definitely want to make sure that you do, is before you film, if you're going to film from the inside of your car, like I do, like this next several videos that we're going to see were filmed, you want to make sure your windshield is clean. And so I took a video of me washing my car, and we're not going to watch the whole thing. We're just going to watch the one part that I thought was kind of cool looking, because it was kind of cool looking. So there you go. Oh, hey, Tina Rose Cager. Good to see you. So glad that you are showing face. Yeah, so when you're trying to figure out how to do things and stuff, you end up doing some videos that really are not very good. And they're just like, why did you spend time videoing that? But then you get like maybe a minute and a half of like, well, that was kind of neat. So basically I spent a whole well, I recorded my whole car washing situation, but that was super boring and dumb. But this part with the foam falling down, I thought, see, now if Andy, this is something I cannot do, but I was wondering, like, if that foam bit could somehow be used as like a swipe screen or something tech fancy and stuff. But yeah, I don't know enough about nothing to be able to do that. So, yeah, so that's it. But anyway, my point with this video is you need to make sure your windshield is clean so you don't get weird reflections when you, do your video. And so this is cleaning up the whole scene, although I will admit I didn't clean the inside of my windshield, and that does need to be done. So, so yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's the exciting footage that I culled from like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes of the most unexciting footage possible. It's really time consuming to have to go through what you filmed and realize, wow, there's nothing here I want to, oh wait, there's 30 seconds, but whatever. It's good. As Andre said, the more video I have, the more material I have, and I might need it as at a later date. Precisely. Oh, Tina Rose, still feeling like junk, and I'm so sorry that you weren't able to hang out with K-Man and Miles. I had a really bad stomach ache last night. I completely thought of you because after the show this morning, Daily Pigeon, I had to go back to bed to my stomach. Honestly, my stomach is still not feeling so great. So I'm with you, sis. I'm so glad that you've got the energy to at least sit up and type for a minute. I hate when food poisoning, it shows its ugly face. Oh, so yuck. Yeah, okay, shock. So, okay, good. Right, you've junked a huge amount of footage, of GoPro footage. Right, exactly. I mean, seriously, I was really, really unimpressed with, I was really unimpressed. It seemed like such a good idea. I was like, yeah, this is going to be, and it was just not. It was just not even a good idea. But this is the video that I meant to show you last week, and it is a case of brand new tech showing off. Look at me, face in not face, or the whatchamacallit, you know, screen in screen. Now, the key with this is I don't know how I did it, so I cannot do this again. Can I make it a round shape instead of a square shape? I don't know. I don't know how I did it. And can I make it so the video is big and my face is big and the video is little up in the corner? No, I can't do that because I don't know what I did to do this. So that's, yeah. So this is tech that, yep, this is tech that I'm pretending to try and tackle. Yeah, that's right, because I know what I'm doing. Yeah, so what are we looking at here? We are looking at the precursor to the other video that we're looking at my fingers is what we're looking at. Whoops, sorry about that. We're looking at the precursor to the video that I showed you guys last week, or last Thursday, which was the video where we went down through Three Tree Point and to the illegal beach. And that was the video where I had the camera askew just to the side a little bit. Because this footage is dead center-ish. I mean, as dead center as it's gonna get. And I couldn't really see, like, the sides. And I was like, well, I don't really know if that's a good look, right? So then I was like, well, maybe to the side I can make things look to the side. And that kind of drove me nuts, but people said it wasn't that bad, so I'll believe y'all. Yeah, so, Patrick McCleary, super long light. I hate that light. We're not even going to talk about that. This is all raw footage, so we're going to all be able to sit in the long lights. Yeah, we're going to all be able to sit in the long lights. Oh, yes, it's the new Mad Statter Copilot program, making you drive so much better. Yeah, Andre, I'm not so sure that's something. If Mad Statter's your Copilot, chances are Mad Statter's saying, go faster, go faster, go faster, go faster. I don't know if I'm a good Copilot. Yeah, so we're stuck in some traffic here, and as you guys have probably heard me mention, a lot, I live in a town called Burien, but, and Burien sort of borders up on Seattle. It does for a couple blocks, but there's a huge, not huge, but there's a chunk of land between Burien and Seattle that is not claimed by any city. Seattle doesn't want to deal with it, and Burien doesn't want to deal with it. So it's just county. And that, my friends, is White Center. And White Center is where we're headed right now. And White Center, as I've mentioned before, is home to the most diverse population in King County. Over 68 languages are spoken in the neighborhood of White Center. And another not so hot statistic is it is the highest crime rate per capita in our county. But quite honestly, I guess, I don't know, maybe because I've lived in the White Center area for 25 years, the stats might be that it's a high crime area, but quite honestly, I don't feel any more or less unsafe in White Center than I do in downtown Seattle or in my own town. So I don't know, it's not that bad. So this light, oh my God, this light is just like so flippin' long. So wait, what are we singing? Yeah, well, no, West Seattle roundabouts are just, Patrick McCleary, roundabouts are just now making a scene in West Seattle. And we've got a couple of them in Burien. People don't know how to use them. It's kind of funny. I see people that just like sit at them as though they're a four-way stop. And it's like, guys, you got to grow a pair of gonads and get in the circle. Otherwise, you're never going to go anywhere. It's kind of funny. So let's see here. Molly and the Menahune Magical Mystery Tour. Yeah, Mad Statter and the Mystery Tour. I'm not going to sing it with you, Shock or Cindy, but there we go. Yes, it is a center in a unincorporated area. Not so white, not so centered. That is, that's actually White Center's logo. There's t-shirts, mugs, bumper stickers. White Center, not so white, not so centered. Yeah, so, let's see here. Yeah, Andre, I hate the roundabouts too. They're really annoying. That's why I make fun of people who don't know how to use them. Cause it's just like, look, but also that's why I don't like them. Cause there's so many people who don't know how to use them. Yeah. So heading into White Center here, that car palace that you're seeing right there on the car wash palace on the right, that's where we got that footage for the window washing. And yeah, so okay, so Cindy, you don't mind this shot because you can see everything. Okay, yeah, I kind of agree. I didn't like it at first, but in comparison to that side view shot, I think I do prefer the center view, unless I'm gonna like go both directions so you see both sides of the street. I feel like this center shot is better. And the building that we just passed that said McClendon's Hardware, that is Seattle's local, like their version of City Mill. You know how Hawaii has their own local hardware store? McClendon's is the Seattle version. There's a bunch of different ones in a bunch of different Seattle neighborhoods, and and outside of Seattle, obviously, because White Center's not in Seattle. And they not only survive, but thrive competing against Home Depot. And I love McClendon's, actually. I might one day go into McClendon's with a video camera and show you this store, because it's a super old-fashioned hardware store. It is crammed to the gills with everything you could need. Like, do you need a washboard? Awesome. McClendon's has it. What size washboard do you need? They've got 3. What? So let's see here. Patrick McCleary, sounds like you've been in White Center. And Value Village is, I don't believe Value Village is in White Center anymore. But McClendon's never has what you're looking for. McClendon's always has what I'm looking for. Oh, you just don't know how to look for the right things, Patrick. Yeah, I'm blaming you, not the store. So coming up here on the right, which you really can't see, but we just passed the Southgate Roller Rink, which is the roller rink that the Rat City Roller Girls got their start at. Rat City is a nickname for White Center. White Center used to be restricted alcohol territory or something like that, which is RAT. And so Rat City, White Center is Rat City, even though Rat City is quote unquote the Seattle team. No, White Center is not a part of Seattle. White Center is Rat City, and there you go. Oh, and my face is in the way of the White Center logo that I pulled into the parking lot just so you guys could see. So that was a useless shot, wasn't it? There we go. So, Andre, this looks like the suburbs in the Bay Area, like down the peninsula. Yeah, well, it's funny you should say that because it kind of is the suburbs of Seattle on the West Seattle Peninsula. So, yeah, that's exactly where you're at. Let's see. E-Music, police had to be stationed near our new roundabout because there were so many accidents. Oh, that's so awful. I mean, really, like, just mail out flyers, so people can learn how to use the roundabouts. Because seriously, people don't. Roundabouts are not a United States thing, right? I mean, they're just not. So, I mean, they are now, but we are unfamiliar with how to use them. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to stick the Prel on you, Patrick, for complaining about never having the right size filters. Fine, whatever. They didn't have the right size filters. Well, they've got the right size fuses for my house, and that's right. My house still runs on fuses, which is why I love McClendon's, because they have bins of fuses, and it's awesome. Andre, we still have roller rinks. Oh yeah, the Southgate roller rink is going strong. In fact, they've got a bar in the back, so it's a roller rink and a bar. If you go in the view that I was pointing to, you hit the rink, but if you go in on the other side of the street, you hit the bar. In fact, I might be turning right down here. I am turning down here, and the bar entrance to the roller rink is on this street. This is the main drag of White Center. It's the storefronts that make White Center. It used to be mainly sex shops and video booths, the booths that you watch videos in. But it has since turned into kind of a hipster neighborhood with like tons of food options and tons of food trucks. And White Center is definitely sort of like the Brooklyn of Seattle, even though White Center is not a part of Seattle, which I've repeated ad infinitum at this point. But yeah, that's how that works. I think we just passed the bar entrance to the roller rink. And right now we are driving past K for W Asian Mart, which is on the right. But the funny thing about K for W Asian Mart is, depending upon which door you go through, you go to a different store. If you go in the back door, it's C and Y Asian Mart. If you go in the front door, it's K for W. And some of the receipts say C for Y, some of the receipts say K for W. Not exactly sure what's up with that, but I noticed that the other day. So, oh gosh, I didn't even know that McClendon's had a branch in Sumner. So McClendon's isn't just King County. McClendon's has expanded to Pierce County as well. But obviously, McClendon's is not up to snuff for your Pierce County needs, Patrick. You'll need to write them a letter, sternly worded, about their filter selection. So let's see. What did you get, Cindy, on the way to Morro Bay on Highway 41? Shock. You looked at Prel this morning. They still sell it. I didn't know they still even sold it. And almost sent me a picture. Yeah, well, you know what? Actually, if you find a good picture, I might have to include one on my Stream Deck. Yeah, so you're a Home Depot guy. Yeah, I am not a Home Depot girl. I will by default, but I prefer my Ace and my local Ace and my local McClendon's before I prefer my Home Depots. So that's just me. Yeah, so did we just do a roundabout in that area? I don't remember if there is one. Andre, why do hipsters buy out the hoods, make it expensive, and then complain about how it's becoming so gentrified? It's a classic. It's the classic conundrum. Yep, I know, isn't it funny? But yeah, White Center though still is the most, like I said, ethnically diverse neighborhood in King County. And if you want the good, if you want the best tamales in the area, aside from, I mean, actually, in my opinion, the best tamales are the ones that I get from the lady in front of the Goodwill, or the St. Vincent de Paul. She sells them out of her cooler. But if you're not going to get them from her, the next best place is the deli on this exact street, right across the street from the Bartell Drugs. It's a place called El Paisano or something like that. And it's a Mexican place, obviously. And they only make so many tamales a day, obviously, but they sell out quick because they're fluffy, they're good, they're delicious. But like I said, I prefer the ones that are sold out of the cooler from the lady on the side of the street, which I recognize is totally a questionable source to get a lot of your food. But when it comes to tamales, I was always under the impression the best place to get them is from a lady on the side of the road selling them from a cooler. Yeah, and so here we're randomly pulling into a restaurant. Why are we randomly pulling into a restaurant parking lot? Because, oh no, my face is probably going to be in the way. Because we have Zippy's too. Only our Zippy's is Zippy's Giant Burgers, and this is our Zippy's. No, our Zippy's has nothing to do with your Zippy's. Our Zippy's is named after the owner of the restaurant, which his name is actually Blaine Cook, but he used to be in a band. Oh, he used to be in a lot of bands. He used to be in the Farts, he used to be in the Accused, and so Zippy Accused, Zippy Fart, whatever. Those were his punk rock names back in the day. And so when he decided to open a burger joint, he decided to name it after himself, sort of. And so Zippy's is the burger joint that White Center has the best burgers. That's the best burgers in White Center. Actually, they're kind of some of the best burgers in Seattle, but that's an argument that gets way too deep in the weeds, and I'm not going to go there. So, Andre. Now, see, I avoided that topic. I was going to mention it, but then I didn't. Andre asks, Mad Statter, do you like the tamales that are wrapped in corn husks or the ones wrapped in banana leaves? I prefer the banana leaves. And I know that that's really controversial, but that is why I prefer the ones that I get from the lady on the side of the road, because hers are wrapped in banana leaves, whereas the El Paisano ones are wrapped in the corn husks. Now, there is a place in Burien that sells both options. I have not tried theirs yet, so that is actually on the list of things to do and maybe even talk about here on Chatter with Statter. But to answer your question, Andre, I prefer the banana leaf. Curious which, and yes, Andre, Zippy the Pinhead, exactly what he was named after. That was exactly what that came from for his nicknames. But I am curious, for those of you who have tried the banana leaf tamales versus the corn husk tamales, do you have a preference? What's your deal? Which ones do you like better? Why do you like them better? I like the banana leaf ones better because they seem moister. But that's just me. Yeah, I knew that the banana leaves ones were from a certain area of Mexico. I didn't know it was the Yucatan Peninsula. So very good to know. Thank you for that information, Andre. Yeah. Oh, whoops. Are we at a stoplight or did my thing stop? No, we're not. We're at a stoplight. See, as you can see, we've got a Starbucks here in the same parking lot as a Popeyes. Yeah, so Andre, you know about the banana ones. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer the corn husk ones or the banana leaf ones? And then also, what is your favorite, not topping, I guess, because that's not what it is, your favorite inside of the tamale? I had some tamales that were made in Yakima, which is in Central Washington. It was a restaurant that was a James Beard award-winning tamale place, and they had these asparagus tamales that were so flippin' good. And asparagus is like the last thing you think of as a filling for tamale, but in Yakima, there's a lot of asparagus. So, they just are making their specialty ones, because it's a limited time only, their asparagus ones. But during the season, they make these asparagus ones, and And these are corn husk ones, and I go there to die for. I love them so much. Yeah, Patrick, Starbucks in Washington. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? I'll tell you what, it's funny though. I don't really like Starbucks for a lot of reasons, but I drove across country once, and I would say between like Eastern Oregon through Idaho, through Utah, through Colorado, I didn't see one Starbucks. And the first Starbucks I saw was in Kansas. And I have to tell you, I pulled over and I went into I'd been on the road for a while at that point, and I walked into that Starbucks and it flippin' felt like home. And not only did it feel like home, I was stunned to find out that the donuts that they sell in Starbucks in Kansas are actually from Seattle. Because I walked in and I said, what? They have Top Pot Donuts here? Top Pot Donuts is a donut company from locally owned and operated from Seattle. I know it's locally owned and operated from Seattle because I dated the guy who installed some of their equipment, their heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment for their plant. Like, I was intimately familiar. I mean, I can't remember their name, but I remember who the owners are of Top Pot. And so when I walked in and I saw these donuts, and it was just like, oh, it's like being home again. So even though I really don't like Starbucks, apparently I really do like Starbucks. Who knew? Who knew? So let's see here. Anne-Marie Silva, clean the kitchen, filled order, now have to clean kitchen again. Yeah, there you go. Always in the kitchen. Yeah, when do we get a Rosie like in the Jetsons? No doubt. My kitchen needs a permanent Rosie. I'm not even going to tell you the stack of dishes that I have left in my sink and how long they've been there, but I may or may not have a stack of dishes in my sink that have been there for more than one day. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, okay, Cindy Krause, never seen the banana ones. And eMusic, no banana leaf available here. Yeah, the banana leaf ones are definitely not the normal ones. I had only recently tried the banana leaf ones, thanks to the lady on the side of the road with the cooler. And they are a very different animal. Like, I mean, they're the same thing, but they're not. So I like them both, but I have a friend who is from Colorado, and she does not like the banana leaf ones at all. And I can see why. I mean, like I said, they're the same, but they are different. And so I can totally see why somebody wouldn't like one versus t'other. I like them both, but I think I like the banana ones better. So yeah. Oh, chicken broth to the water to add flavor to the corn husks. Oh, interesting. I've never thought about flavoring the corn husk itself. I just thought of flavoring I thought you were going to say you use the chicken broth to flavor the masa. Okay. So chocolate, Guatemala, and abuelita tamal are the best. Sis-in-law can do them, except it means seeing your brother, irk. Now, but the Guatemalan though, okay, so the Guatemalan tamal, what do they wrap them in? Is it corn, or is it banana leaf, or something different? What is it? Because I can't for the life of me. I want to say Guatemala is kind of mountainous, isn't it? But I might be getting that country confused with a different country. So yeah, what's up with the Guatemalan ones? Are they corn husk wrapped or banana leaf wrapped? And yes, Patrick, that's it. The HVAC system for Top Pot Donuts. That's what he was in charge of. So wait. Curtis would need to be colossal size, 1 inch plus at the base. Could see it wrapped in. It's a little pillow of masa. I don't know what you're talking about here. I mean, you're talking about tamales to a degree, but I'm not sure what you're referring to. So, okay, so it sounds like then the Guatemalan ones are probably the corn husk, if you've never heard of the banana leaf ones. Yeah, the banana leaf ones are definitely more very, very region specific, very regional. It sounds like Yucatan. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than just the Yucatan. Once you get really south in Mexico, things, do get pretty flippin' tropical again. And so, I'm basically thinking it's anywhere that, I wouldn't be surprised if, Zihuatanejo area, Ixtapa, and Zihuatanejo, sister cities. If that area was a banana leaf tamales place, because they're really very tropical. So let's see here. Oh, okay. So E-Music, you do also add chicken broth to the masa for flavor. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm a really big fan of the tamales that are cooked in some or steamed, excuse me, in some kind of flavored. Like when the masa has a little bit of a red tone to it, you know, I don't know what it is that it gets mixed in with that. But yeah, I like it when the masa has a little bit of extra oomphy flavor. So Cynthia Krause, you cook pork with banana leaf and it has a distinctive flavor. So yum. Precisely, the banana leaf does add a flavor to the masa when you steam it. And it does, I wouldn't say it's grassy and I wouldn't say it's bitter, but I don't have words other than those to describe it. And grassy and bitter sound very unappetizing, but it's not. So those are bad words to describe, but still, they're the only ones I got. So let's see here. Yeah, the abuelita was Guatemalan. The tamal, she made them, so they were Guatemalan. But she was in Washington, D.C. area, so maybe no banana. Yeah, well, corn husks are way easier to find than the banana leaves around here, without a doubt. Gotcha, Curtis, the asparagus tamales. You need a large asparagus to stand up in the cook time. Worst thing is to overcook the asparagus. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they chop the asparagus up and make a mixture of stuff. I honestly can't remember. I can't really remember how it looks on the inside, mostly because I just eat it so fast because it's like, I don't know, it's so good. So, hey, are bananas both New World and Old World? I think bananas are a universal world. I feel like in Egypt, they had reference to bananas, and Egypt is pretty old world. But I also think that the bananas that we use today are very new world, because the bananas, I don't know if you guys know this or not, you probably do. So you know how when you eat banana candy, it doesn't taste anything like a banana? At least not as we understand it. That's because banana flavoring for candies was developed based on an old variety of banana that was called the Fat Mike, or what is it? The Gros Michael or Miguel, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, the Fat Mike basically is the English way of saying that banana. And because that was the banana that was universally shipped around to everywhere, it became a monoculture of an industry. And once there was some sort of blight or fungus, cannot remember which, but basically it developed and attacked essentially the entire world's commercial crop of the Fat Mike. And so they had to find a new banana to replace the Fat Mike with, which is what we have right now, and that's the Cavendish. And so the Cavendish had a slightly different flavor than the Fat Mike. So the banana flavoring is Fat Mike banana flavor. We are used to Cavendish flavor, and I believe Cavendish was a species of banana that was developed in South America, but no quote me on that. There we go. Yeah, and the Cavendish is a clone banana. Exactly. Yeah, they're all the same. And the Fat Mike essentially was too. Now you can still get the Fat Mike. You just can't get them at like the grocery store. But there are specialty fruit importers and things that do, or not fruit. There are specialty fruit companies that you can get the Fat Mike from. They have them at there's someplace in Florida that you can order them to be shipped and the like. I watched an episode of Emmy Made in Japan on YouTube. I don't know if you know of this creator, but doesn't really matter. She does food, but she ordered a bunch of different rare bananas, and the Fat Mike was one of them. So you totally can still get the Fat Mike, but not in the grocery store. Let's see here. Oh, Terry, yeah, we're still here talking about bananas, talking about tamales, talking about which kind of tamale you like better. Do you like the banana leaf wrapped or the corn husk wrapped? Yeah, e-music, exactly. The cooking in banana leaves is not yeah, it's not an unusual thing, right? That's what they do in Hawaii. So yeah, and as Andre does point out, banana leaves are available in most Asian stores in the frozen food section. Totally true, but not everybody has an Asian food. It turns out, Andre, unless you're on the West Coast, Asian food stores aren't really that common. I've got in that White Center video, I can't even tell you, there's at least 4 Asian food stores in that White Center video that we drove by, and that's just in White Center. I've got 2 Asian food stores in my neighborhood in Burien. Well, not my neighborhood. Speaking of which, this is actually my neighborhood. We're about to pull into my house. So if you've been paying attention, I'm taking you right to where I live. Don't be shocked at the grandeur that you are about to witness. We're going to pull into the driveway of the most amazing and luxurious home ever. You're just going to blow your mind. It's just like, oh my God, we always knew that she was a princess. We always knew that she lived in a mansion of huge proportions. Or not. So that was that holo holo. Yeah. Let's see here. So let's see, blah, blah, blah. Chocolat talking about some nanners. That's the one mostly you see in the grocery. We never get those. We get the little red tie ones. The red tie ones, I don't like those that much. I mean, I like them when I'm in Hawaii and I eat them, they're good. But the ones that we get in my grocery store are just gross. And yeah, Terry Gilbert, Fat Mike does sound slightly naughty. I'm not gonna lie. And part of the reason why it's called that is because it's actually like, it's a bigger, the banana has a wider girth than the Cavendish, which is why it's called the Fat Mike. Well, chocolate, go to your nearest naval base and you will find an Asian market. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, for those of you who don't live in the West Coast, but I mean, there aren't a whole lot of naval bases in Nebraska. So, I mean, there's only so much you can do with Asian places. So, Cindy, all right, let's see here. Cindy, your banana tree has never made a banana, but the leaves are great, and that's why you grow it. Honestly, Cindy, I notice a lot of people in my neighborhood, or not my neighborhood, but my area, that grow banana trees, and I have always wondered if they use them for the leaves. Because I've noticed, you have to sort of clean and trim your banana. I notice it looks like on some of the leaves, on some of the trees, actually, they're technically not trees; they're just plants. But that's a different story. I've noticed that my neighbor up the street from me, in particular, they're an Asian family who recently remodeled their house with Aloha Construction Company. I had no idea. The Pacific Northwest Division. I didn't even know they were a thing here in Seattle. But yeah, their banana tree. I always suspect they use their banana tree for food production as well. So. Well, yeah, they've got Asian food stores in Virginia near DC, obviously, but Virginia is also on the coast, right? That's where the Navy would be. I mean, I know that some Navy or like the Coast Guard is very far inland in the state of Washington on the Columbia River, but the Coast Guard is not in like Kansas, and the Navy is also not like in Kansas. So, right. E-music, the nearest Asian store is over 400 miles away. Depending upon where you're at, that's exactly it. So, let's see. Oh, wow. Curtis, you've got 8 banana trees and you love them. Awesome. Terry Gilmore, don't worry. You're not intimidated by Fat Mike. Nice. Yeah, DC has gobs of Asian markets, for sure. And not only I wouldn't be surprised if it, up and down the East Coast, they've got them, maybe not all the areas like Charleston, South Carolina might not have a lot of Asian marts. But yeah, I mean, obviously from DC up to, at least Boston, you're going to have Asian marts galore. And let's see here. So H Mart, Patrick McCleary, H Mart, closest one is in Federal Way. I've never been to H Mart. I have a Hong Kong market in Burien, and Hong Kong market is pretty close to H Mart. Not quite the same, but similar. The one thing I like about H Mart, which some people probably wouldn't like about H Mart, almost every day that you go there, there is a roasted pig, the entire pig, hanging in the deli, not to mention a bunch of Peking ducks. And then when you go to like their meat section, seriously, dude, what kind of meat do you want? Because Hong Kong market will have it. Do you need a bunch of rabbits? Well, they've got that. Do you need a bunch of frozen quail? Well, goodness, they've got that too. How about duck bills? Well, they've got, duck tongue. Yeah, they've got a ton of that. Wait, do you need a pig's head? We've got 2 of them on the shelf just waiting for you. I mean, their meat section is like none I've ever seen in my life. But basically, if you need meat, any kind of meat, Hong Kong market will have your meat. And then if you need any kind of fake meat, well, they'll have that too. Yeah. Okay, Terry Gilmore, fun fact, the Navy is in Tennessee. That's weird. How come? Yeah. Do you have footnotes to explain yourself there? The Navy is in Tennessee. Okay. I obviously don't know what I'm talking about, but do you know why they're in Tennessee? Terry? Maybe? So let's see here. Yeah, DC has markets and restaurants from any country that has an embassy. That kind of makes sense, obviously, as well. Exactly. Let's see here. Oh, H Mart has a huge kimchi bar. I don't think, no, Hong Kong Mart doesn't have any kind of bars of any kind, salad bar, kimchi bar, whatever kind of bar. So a kimchi bar, okay, that might be nice. So you had a pig head once, but then you divorced. Oh, did the pig get any? Did the pig get the pig head? Did they get half your stuff? I don't know what Oak Ridge is, other than a country music group called the Oak Ridge Boys. So I don't know what Oak Ridge has to do with the Navy in Tennessee. So, well, Andre, okay, you have naval stations in the desert, but that's still California. Okay, Navy's Bureau of Personnel is in Millington. Right, okay, so, but that's not really, okay, all right, the Bureau of Personnel, but that's not, so is there a lot of Asian stores around there? I mean, because the Navy's Bureau of Personnel isn't exactly the Navy in the sense of the soldiers and where, I mean, I don't know. I'm not so sure I consider that, I mean, I recognize that it is a Navy base, but I'm not so sure it's the same kind of Navy base that I'm used to living near, I guess. So let's see here. Oh, it sounds like, okay, so there's nothing, but there's a lab and it's super nerdy stuff. Right, yeah, and military is all over the labs and super nerdy stuff, so there you go. Oh, Patrick, no, the pig head didn't get anything. We just split. All right, that's good. Let's see here. Curtis says, Cynthia Krause, I've got 2 new pups so far. So that makes 10. I think when he says pups, he's talking about baby banana plants. Got a small starter from a friend and plant them in the ground all summer. Have to dig them up for winter. There you go. Excelente. Oak Ridge, they make nuclear bombs. Okay, yeah, well, I still don't think that the Oak Ridge base is going to be full of the same kind of restaurants that the average normal troop-laden bases would have. That being said, I am fully prepared to have everyone just be like, dude, let me show you the Google page of all the restaurants that surround Oak Ridge and how international they are. And I'll be like, well, there you go. I don't know what I'm talking about. Again. Okay, Patrick, you got all the Star Wars and she got all her broken unicorn stuff. Granted, it was already broken before we got together. Wow, it sounds like you guys had a whole bunch of stuff that no one but you would want. I mean, seriously, broken unicorn stuff? What is up? That's funny. I don't even know, like, I don't even know. All right, there we go. Yeah, I guess any military base is likely to have some diversity, but I'm just not so sure that the community surrounding it is going to cater to it unless the diversity is really a big presence. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is like the Department of Navy personnel probably isn't a base that's nearly as big as, say, Sub Base Bangor and or bases that are in Virginia that have troops going in and out of them and stationed there and living there and blah 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 there. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Oak Ridge might have all sorts of Asian marts. I'm curious if they do. I'll bet you they don't. Oh, but it doesn't matter what I bet, because here, going back a couple episodes ago that we were talking about serial killers, right? So yeah, shifting gears. So I wondered whether or not the state that had the most serial killers I said I would bet $1 that the state that had the most serial killers was in the north. And I may or may not, the air bases in North Dakota bring most of the diversity to that state. Yeah, Andre, I'm not at all surprised to hear that, because without the air bases, North Dakota is basically Native Americans and white folk. So there's a big range of races that could fill in a lot of blanks in North Dakota. But back to serial killers. North Dakota is not the one that has, even though I did say that they might be, North Dakota is not the one that has the most serial killers. Now, I bet $1 that the one that had the most was going to be in the north. And so technically speaking, I don't think I won my $1, because the one that has the most is California, which stands to reason. It's got the most people. So California is the state that has the most serial killers that can be attributed to it. However, when you factor in population density versus serial killers, i.e. the per capita rate, well, then I might win my $1 back, because Alaska is the one that has the most serial killers per capita. And that is definitely a northern state. No matter how you slice it, I think we can all agree. Alaska, yeah, that's a northern state. So yeah, touching base on shows from long ago, serial killers, they come from Alaska, but mostly California. Yeah, Andre, actually, lots of South Asians in the South, for sure. There's a huge Vietnamese population in Houston that I was so confused by. But like, to the degree that their little Vietnam town or whatever their neck of the woods is, like their street signs are in Vietnamese. It's super cool. I love it when street signs are not in English. I'm silly that way, but I love it when I see neighborhoods that have street signs that are not in the language I speak. So... Okay, Knoxville, right by Oak Ridge, has a fair number of Asian marts. Okay, all right, cool, all right. I still think, though, that Kansas might not have a lot of Asian marts. I mean, as eMusic said, the closest Asian mart to her is 400 miles away. So just because you can get banana leaves in an Asian mart doesn't really mean that everyone on the continental United States can get the banana leaves easily. That's all. Yeah, Alaska has one of the highest crime rates per capita for any state. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, people go there to hide. And then, when bad people go places, they sometimes continue to do bad things. Not to mention, it's hard to find people when it's a state that big. It's easy to disappear in Alaska, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yes, you are correct, Patrick. Alaska is the most northern, western, and eastern state in the North American continent. It's so weird how it works out that way, but apparently it is. Yeah, well, Shock, I don't think so, Shock. No argument, just saying if you have an active military base with soldiers, likely to have Asian or Latin markets too. Yeah, although to tell you the truth, the Latin markets at this point, I don't think you need I don't think you need any kind of base. I think Latin markets are where is there food that's growing? There's going to be a Latin market near there. Latin markets, I think, are way more commonplace across the continental United States than Asian food marts, but I will promise you this, I'm just making that up off the top of my head. I don't know what I'm talking about, clearly, because obviously with all this talk we've got about Tennessee and the Asian marts, I don't know what the flying fork I'm talking about, but I do think that there might be more Latin markets than Asian markets. Although in my neighborhood, a lot of the Latin markets are Asian markets and vice versa. So like K for W, which I talked about earlier, that's actually a Mexican store and an Asian store combo. So weird, but it is. So, hey, Tina Rose, thank you so much for swinging by and hanging out for so long. I hope you feel better soon. I hope we get to see you tomorrow morning on the Daily Pigeon, but take care of yourself. Thank you so much for swinging by today. So, right. Okay. So Cynthia Kraus, the closest one, is a 50-minute drive to, for you to San Luis Obispo. Yeah. SLO. Totally. Yeah. You know, I take Asian marts for granted. Always have since, well, everywhere I've lived, I've had access to good Asian marts. But I realized that not everybody has the luxury. It's so sad. So, oh, really, Terry? Interesting. One of the Gilmores was an Alaskan state trooper who helped solve and catch a serial murderer. Oh, all right. Nice. That's disturbing, but you know, I'm glad they at least caught one. Yeah, Flying Fork, Patrick, I was a roller derby announcer, and you're not allowed to say bad swear words or even good swear words on the mic because roller derby is a family-friendly event. And yeah, Flying Fork has turned into one of my favorites. Wow, Andre, I did not know that. Alaska has a smaller population than the city of San Francisco. That's, I mean, I guess that doesn't really surprise me, but I don't know. I guess that does sort of surprise me. I mean, Alaska's a huge state. I know San Francisco is a huge city, but still, huh? Yep. Yeah, you have big Asian, Middle East, and Latin market here. Oh, so you're, see, our Middle East markets are very separate. Like all the halal markets and stuff are they're their own thing. So are you saying that your Asian, Latin, and Middle East market are all one market? That's awesome. If you're saying that, that's awesome. Yeah, Andre, Cynthia Kraus, there's not much in the Central Coast that you don't have to drive far for. Yeah, that is the problem with the Central Coast for sure. It's a barren, barren area. That whole Central Valley / to the coast area is not a whole lot of nothing. Oh, so it is one giant market, E-Mart. Awesome, dude. I want an E-Mart here. Let's see here. SLO has Cal Poly. Cal Poly. I'm like, Cal Poly, what Asian mart is that? That's not an Asian mart. That's a school. My sister, Cynthia Kraus, when she lived in San Luis Obispo, when she was working for Ernie Ball, you know, the musician, music, you know, the strings and stuff, Ernie Ball. She worked for them for a while, and she had to leave San Luis Obispo because she's from the Pacific Northwest, and the Pacific Northwest is full of grumpy, cloudy people. And she realized that all of the, as she called them, Cal Poly dollies of San Luis Obispo drove her nuts. So she couldn't live in San Luis Obispo for more than like 3 years. She had to go back to the Pacific Northwest and get to where there was clouds because the Cal Poly dollies were just a little too happy and sunshiny for her. Yeah. Let's see here. Anchorage is one of the most diverse cities. Oh, I'm not even surprised about that. I mean, any city that's on the coast is going to have a jump start on diversity at that, you know, really. And Alaska being that destination of the gold rush, the oil rush, the everything, the blah, blah, blah. I'm not at all surprised that people from all over the world are ended up in Alaska. So, wait, Andre, no, those numbers can't be right. Seattle has more than 1 million people, so San Francisco has to have more than 1 million people. I refuse to believe that Seattle is a bigger city than San Francisco. I mean, maybe it is, but what? Really? Okay. So 731,545 Alaskan people, population. San Francisco has 874,961. That's strange. I always thought of San Francisco as having way more people than Seattle. And those numbers do not indicate that at all. So, yeah, Cal Poly gave us Scott Peterson and the Kristen Smart kidnapper. So, yeah, Anne-Marie, you bring up a good point. I guess they're not all smiley, happy people, are they? No, they're not. But I'm glad that my sister did not hook up with those non-smiley, happy people, because those sound like lame people. Yeah, eMusic, my sister didn't complain about the dudes from Cal Poly. It was just the chicks. I've never been there. I do know one woman though who did graduate from Cal Poly. And so when my sister threw out the Cal Poly dolly and she explained what she meant by that, I was like, "Oh my God, this explains this friend of mine to a T." I kind of had to laugh. I just thought it was my friend's personality. I didn't realize it was like a whole thing. So let's see here. So, Andre, Seattle is bigger. Wow, I had no idea. But San Jose has 1 million plus. I didn't know that San Jose was so big. I mean, I knew that it was huge, but I had no idea that it was bigger than San Francisco. San Francisco is a pretty tiny landmass, so I guess. So, yeah. So, okay, so Cynthia Krause, my sister isn't just being a cloudy Pacific Northwestern grumpy head. I mean, maybe she is, because I am, and we are. But the Cal Poly dollies really are for real. Oh, okay, so she wasn't just, all right, okay. Yeah, shock. No, we recently went over 1 million, like with the latest census. Those are old numbers. We're actually over 1 million now. That was the last census. And you are right. And the only reason why I know that is because Boston has roughly the same population as Seattle. But check this out. Every day, the city of Boston doubles in size. They go from approximately 750,000 people to 1.5 million people every day between 8 and 6 because of all the people that commute into the city. And if you've ever been to Boston during commute time, I actually have, it is bizarre. Like, the office buildings empty and the streets fill with people going to the train station. And no, these streets are not pedestrian only streets. These streets are streets made for cars. And if you're in a car, tough titty kitty, you're waiting for the next 25 minutes for all these people to flood to the... It was it went from no people to a Woodstock concert in minutes at the train station. I could not believe that, how many people flood in and out of Boston. But I was doing some research, and as it turns out, Boston doubles in population every single day, every single weekday, thanks to the commuters. So, yeah. San Francisco is mainly built on sunken boats from the gold rush era. Yeah, and then on the hills. Exactly. Yeah, exactly, Terry Ann Gilmore. I'm going to argue with Google. Google schmoogle. Let me tell you what's really going on over here. Yep, that's me. A little bit arrogant. No, a lot bit arrogant, actually. So, yeah. So, and shock. Okay, so you've seen the Boston situation that I'm referring to. And Patrick, did they include the homeless population in Seattle? That's hard to say. I don't really know what the census was doing about the people who lived without homes. But if they did not include the people who are currently living without homes, then they have vastly undercounted the city of Seattle's population. Let me tell you. Yeah, the city of Seattle's population of homeless people is a very significant number that, if they were not counted in the census, would be very unfortunate, because the cumulative number would matter. Yeah. So, okay, so San Francisco is only 49 square miles. Oh, okay, so 7 by 7. Yeah, that's actually a tiny chunk of land, actually. So the strangest, okay, Terry Gilmore, let's see here. Terry Gilmore says, strangest place I've lived for morphing was Yuma, Arizona. town of 20,000 swelled to over 100,000 with snowbirds and RVs for the season. It was like an overnight transformation. Oh, what a nightmare. Yeah, and that's I'll bet you that's kind of, I mean, the locals in Yuma obviously must have resentments to the snowbirds. And I can only assume that after the lockdowns that Hawaii had, where all of the tourists that they were used to were no longer there, and now suddenly all the tourists are coming back, I can only assume that the locals there feel a lot like the locals in Yuma. Like, what are you doing here? You were gone for a while, and it was better when you were gone. Why don't you be gone again? Yeah. Yep. So, let's see here. Yeah, Andre, Boston drivers are known for their craziness. Well, I'll tell you what, I did not drive in Boston. I've driven in San Francisco many times, and that's one of my least favorite cities to drive in, because when you're going up some steep hills, you literally can't see over the top of the hood of your own car, and so you don't know if you're about to hit a pedestrian crossing at the top of the crest of the hill. So San Francisco drives me nuts, but I would never drive in Boston. Holy crumb. First off, half the roads in downtown were built before cars were invented, so they're like only this wide, and it's like a little carriage wagon wheel can fit through, and they're all rickety and stupid, and they decided to plan the city before grids were invented, apparently. So when they say go around a block, what they really mean is go around that pie triangle, not a square. Boston is nuts. I would not want to drive in Boston at all. Yep. All right, eMusic, thanks for swinging by. It is it the top of the hour? Wow. All right, thanks for that heads up. Yeah, gotta go. We will see you later. Hooey ho. Let's see here. Wait, why is it that you don't go to downtown Seattle anymore? Oh, because of the homeless population? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's painful to see, actually. Let's see here. Oh, wait. Oh, my goodness. All right. So Shakalak says, yes, all these nice little old RV drivers like to drink and get in fights and then drive badly. Oh, what a nightmare. Yuma, Arizona, where people go to... Yuma, Arizona, where Fight Club goes to retire. There we go. Got their new city logo. Just come to me for all things. Prell has come to me. They're happy with my work. Burger King, they couldn't be more pleased. Come on, Yuma. Come on. Where's the check? It's where Fight Club goes to retire. There we go. It's short. You can put it on signs. Mm-hmm. Yep. So, really? Yeah. So you were in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Oh, I'll bet you this is the case of all the ports in the Virgin Islands. And when the cruise ship would come in, it was like a D-Day invasion. Yeah. What a nightmare. I mean, I guess it's not a nightmare because it does flood the economy with the tourism dollars, although then the economy becomes dependent on it, and that's a whole other issue. But, I don't really like crowds, so that just seems like a nightmare to me. Oh no, Terry Gilmore, there's a Marine base in Yuma. Young Marines driving fast do not mix well with snowbirds driving big RVs below the speed limit. No, they do not. In fact, yeah. No, they don't. I've seen examples of that on I-5 in the Pacific Northwest. So, all right, Shock. So you've driven a cargo van in the snow in Boston. It wasn't that bad. Well, okay, but I don't want to drive in Boston. Next time we're in Boston, I'll let you drive. There we go. Oops, I just dropped water. Yeah, they're the cobblestone roads in some of them in Boston in the downtown core. They are. So, yeah, well, is Yuma an open carry city? Yeah, the whole entire state is open carry. So you got snowbirds packing heat. Yeah, I suppose you might. But I'll tell you what, if a snowbird and a Marine got into a road rage argument and both were packing heat, my money's going to be on the Marine. It's just where I'm going there. Yeah, I know that's a very strange thing to... Let's talk about that scenario. Let's not talk about that scenario, actually. All right, so I've got notes here, and I want to make sure I talked about everything that I was going to talk about because I need to make sure that I talked about everything. Yep, I think I talked about everything. Fantastic, awesome. Let's see. So Shockalock used to drive to Boston every winter, so you did that for years in a big honking truck. Marines cannot open carry on base. Well, no, nobody can open carry on base, I guess, except for maybe like the military police. But once you're off base, you can open carry, right? Or, yeah, I mean, well, suppose you'd have, yeah, I don't know how that works. But if you're off base, if you don't live on base, then you don't really have to worry about it. If you live on base, then I don't know how you get your weapon off base without open carrying. So that presents a bit of an issue. But if you don't live on base, all it means is you can't carry on the base. You can still get into a gunfight with a snowbird RV driver. Yeah, I did. I have a chatter checklist because I wanted to, basically, Terry, I want to make sure that I let everybody know that we got to the 100 subscriber mark, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that I was super thankful that we got that. We've created this milestone. We're going to get that customized URL in a little bit, maybe later today. So yeah, I have the various and assorted checklists. Oh, you know what? I kind of lied. I didn't do everything on my checklist. In the last week, I've had some folks donate to this channel for future projects, future holos to get all drive-in and stuff. Nobody wants to be acknowledged by name. So I'm not going to tell anybody's name for anything, but y'all know who you are. I appreciate your donations so very much. And they will be going to future holos. So thank you so much. And if y'all want to throw some money for future holos, I have a PayPal donate here button on my banner. But yeah, that's all we're gonna say about that. But yeah, thank you so much, donators. And now we're gonna talk about food again. So let's see here. Shockalock. Oh no, we're not going to talk about food. We're going to talk about guns. Shockalock says a quarter mile outside of city limits, you can go shooting in Yuma. Yeah, you can go shooting, a lot of places, right outside the city limits, as long as, it's safe. Andre, Grand Theft Auto. Oh yeah, that might be kind of fun. Grand Theft Auto Yuma edition. Speaking of Grand Theft Auto, I'm not much of a, video game player, but I will admit Grand Theft Auto is kind of fun. And I think it was Grand Theft Auto Los Angeles that I was playing. And in one of the scenes, you're supposed to try to take over an airplane. And, so you're supposed to sneak into the airport and somehow get into the airplane and blah, blah, blah. And my friend he could never get in the airplane. He could never figure out how to do that. And so finally, because it doesn't matter in Grand Theft Auto, I pointed out to him, I was like, hey, when you're going to the airport, switch your cars. There's a big fire truck right before you get to the hangar. And if you get in the fire truck, you can just drive the fire truck through the wall of the hangar. And everybody in the hangar is going to be so confused and surprised that you can get into the airplane and fly off. And that's exactly what he did. So I felt like I was pretty savvy with my Grand Theft Auto tip there. Yeah. Okay, Patrick, go have your fish tacos. It is dinner time over here in the Pacific Northwest. And, yeah, I will be careful with the spiders in my house, Patrick. That was a horrible, horrible thing that we're not going to get into on this live stream. Yeah. Okay, so Andre, Andre, you know what I'm talking about. It's Grand Theft Auto Los Santos is the LA one. Okay, yeah, but that's the one, I think, with the fire truck outside of the airplane hangar. And the key, if you want to take over that airplane, I mean, you have to make sure that you've got enough weapons and stuff. But then you go and you take that fire truck and you just bash it. You come around through the back, because if you come around through the front, they see you, and all of the people are going to shoot at you with guns. And you don't want that, because that will kill you. But what you want to do is you want to just boom, take it, like I said, bust through the back wall, and they had no idea you were coming, despite the fact that you'd think they might hear a big fire truck revving its engine. But yeah, in the video game, they don't know that you're coming, and so you just bash through the wall and take over that airplane. I mean, I don't know if that's what the game developers intended, but it's a hack that worked for me. Yeah. So, hold on, wait. Okay, so you guys are talking about a place in Yuma called, I guess, what, Cretans? And they have nachos. Yeah, okay, so Curtis, Iowa just became an open carry state. Funny, I never felt the need. I know that's how I feel about it. I live my life without much fear, for better or for worse. I'm not advocating people take on this mindset at all. Fear is healthy. But I live my life with less fear than probably is healthy. And so to me, the idea of being in so much fear and carrying and having so much paranoia that you feel the need to openly carry a weapon to let people know that you're willing and ready to do that. I don't know. I just don't see the need. It's just, but like I said, I live without fear, and that's not really something I advocate either. So there you go. Oh, it's Cretines, not Cretans. I like Cretans better. So let's see. Oh, it looks like, okay, so there's a heavy military presence in there, and you remember the plaques from the nacho eating competitions. Oh, I bet. Yeah. The soldiers probably do know how to put down some serious nachos. Abso-flippin'-lutely. Yep. But okay, so wait. Okay, so it sounds like they've got nachos. They're good for nachos. Curious, do they make their nachos flat and big, or do they make them stacked and tall? Because I don't really like the stacked ones, because the stacked ones, like the stuff in the middle isn't cooked right, or else there's no stuff in the middle. I like the flat ones where everything's cooked and stuff. So yeah, nacho preferences. We talked about tamales. Now let's talk about nachos. Oh, excuse me. All right. So, let's see. These nachos are like, oh, okay. Hold on. Shock explains. These nachos are like individual little tostadas, not a pile of chips. Huh. So like a molita or whatever? Isn't that what they're called? The little molitas? Weird. I've never heard of a nacho like that. That's weird. Okay. I know. Nothing as sad as a naked nacho, Terry. Seriously, if I wanted a bag of chips, then I'd just open a bag of chips. But I at least want some melted cheese. Just a little bit. Okay, so that's why you can count them. I didn't know that they were counting the individual nachos. I just sort of figured like pounds of food or plates of nachos, or I don't really know. I didn't realize. Okay, now I'm gonna have to look this up. I'm gonna have to look up what Cretans, what they call their nachos. I mean, I know what they call their nachos. They call their nachos. I'm just gonna have to look up what the heck are those things. Okay, all right, fancy pants, new kind of nacho. Okay, well, maybe we should wrap this up. We talked about a new kind of tamale. That's the kind that, have the banana leaves, and it's not really new. It's just new to us. Talked about new types of nachos, which obviously are not new, but they're new to me. And let's see here. Oh, Andre's getting into open carry in California state, which is basically the open carry law in California state is when they said the quiet part loud. We had the Black Panthers in the 1960s when it was illegal to open carry. The government got the NRA to help rewrite California laws so the Panthers could not carry their weapons openly to the state capitol. Funny, Ronald Reagan got called. Yeah. Ronald Reagan was the one in charge of that. Absolutely true. Once the black people showed up at the Capitol with their openly carried weapons as per the legal ability and right given to them by the state of California, the state of California decided to change their laws. So, mojitos. Oh no, it's like molitas, I think is what I said, Anne Marie Silva. But I would rather have a mojito. So yeah, let's just grab some of that chocolate mint and make ourselves a tasty rum drink. Okay, Terry Gilmore. Okay, this sounds gross, but it's actually delicious. Natto ahi nachos. I am okay with the ahi. I'm okay with the nachos, but natto, I have never tried it. I'm just, the visual of the texture scares the heck out of me. I mean, it scares the heck out of me. So, yeah. Oh, Curtis, thank you so much. The tighter camera shot looks great. Keep it going. Yeah, because my desk is my studio and my desk is used for a lot of different things, my studio gets literally rebuilt for every stream, which is why things change. But last stream, I drove myself nuts with my camera angle. So I'm very thankful, Curtis, for your sharp eye and that you noticed things were a little bit different today. And I'm glad that you think that they're better. I think they're better too. So we're going to go for this. We might not have this exactness because I rebuild it every time. But yeah, I think that this might be a good thing to shoot for. Terry, at least you admit nachos are not for the timid. And Anne-Marie, okay, so you grow stevia. I've never and you make syrup out of that. I've had dried stevia. I didn't know that you could make syrup out of it. Are you able to use the stevia or the syrup, I guess, equal proportions, like 1 teaspoon sugar equals 1 teaspoon of your stevia, or do you have to how do you use your stevia syrup, I guess, is actually what I'm really asking. So if you feel like getting into that detail, we can talk about that for another couple minutes. But if you don't feel like getting into that detail, well, then we'll talk about something else. Or maybe we'll wrap it up, because we have been here for almost 2 flippin' hours. So that is probably a sign we need to wrap this up, but it's going to take a minute because, I can't stop chatting. Not when you guys keep chatting at me. We all like to chat here in the Statterbox. Yeah, Andre, I've heard that. Nachos were invented for American Navy wives that wanted to get something to eat after the kitchen was closed in a Tijuana hotel. Didn't know it was a Tijuana hotel, but I do believe, and I think Andy Bumatai on the Daily Pigeon has talked about this quirk as well. It was some bartender, wasn't it, named Ignacio. And I'm pronouncing that name wrong, I know, but whatever. It was something like Ignacio, and that's how nachos got their name, because everyone was like, I want, Ignacio's, and it just turned into nacho. And it was pretty simple. I mean, it was like corn chip, cheese, and jalapeno or something. It was very, very simple, the original nacho, from what I understand. Okay, so, no, stevia is sweeter. You start with making an extract, then the syrup. Not the syrup, the syrup. Your boyfriend is diabetic. Okay, so, Anne-Marie, thank you for answering that. Now, my next question, if you feel like answering, how do you make the extract? Like, what do you... Well, I guess I actually have a lot of questions, but the first question is, how do you make the extract, and then how do you convert the extract into a syrup? I guess. Yeah, there you go. So, okay, so Shock, it sounds like then the ones at Cretan's or whatever, are like the original. It's just the boom, boom, boom. Okay, yeah, okay, so I was thinking the muffalatas no, that's a sandwich. Whatever I was thinking of has more than what you're talking about. So it's not the same. Oh, okay. So Anne-Marie Silva explains, we use the dried for sun tea, the extract and syrup for coffee. We also grind it up, and he puts it in tomato sauces. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, I don't really ever put sugar or anything sweet in my tomato sauces. I know. Carrot, sugar, these are the acceptable. Stevia, these are the acceptable and accepted sweeteners for tomato sauces that a lot of Italians insist you must do. I do not. I just let my tomato sauce cook down a lot till it gets really caramelized and sweet. Oh, I didn't know that the Caesar salad was invented in Tijuana, but I did know that it was invented literally like, what do I have in the kitchen to make something? I mean, it was created out of like the absolute dregs of, I need to figure something out to do with this because we need to serve something to someone and we got nothing in the kitchen. If I remember correctly, that's how Caesar salads were invented. Yeah, shock. I don't put sugar in my tomato sauce. One of my, I have a friend in New York City who is Italian, and my complaint with him is everything he makes is like Italian flavored. It's just like, dude, what can't you? Have you heard of other spices besides basil and oregano? Right. So he's fully Italian cook oriented, and he refuses to put sugar in his tomato sauces as well. I'm guessing it's a regional thing. From, where in Italy depend. Wow, that's not how those words were supposed to come out. I'm guessing the use of sugar in tomato sauces is based on different regional recipes that come from the different areas of Italy. That's what I'm trying to say. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so we've got the good deal. Anne-Marie Silva's telling us how she works her magic. Fill a mason jar about half to 3/4 full with dried stevia, depending upon the sweetness outcome. Fill it with vodka and put it in the cabinet for no more than 48 hours. Then drain and simmer. And you stir the liquid and you drain, simmer the liquid, stirring until you get the desired taste. Right, of course. That's exactly how you would do that. Like, that's, duh. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, the ugly tomatoes are good for the farmer's market for making sauce. And yeah, your tomatoes have more sugar than old breeds of sauce tomatoes. Oh, okay, Sass, that totally makes sense. The hybrids and things like that are developed for sweetness, etc. So that totally makes sense. Okay, cool. And that's Anne-Marie, the stevia syrup stays good in the fridge for a couple months. Okay, awesome. Good to know. Yeah, Terry Gilmore. I think that's so funny that buffalo chicken wings were also created on the fly late one night. Not only that, they were created on the fly late one night with scraps that were basically going to be used to make chicken broth. Because back in the day, wings were kind of considered useless parts of the bird. And, lots of places just didn't do anything with them other than make sauces and soups with them. And so now, though, chicken wings are quite possibly the most expensive part of the flippin' bird these days. I mean, there's literally shortages of them because wings are so flippin' popular. It's so weird food trends and how they become. So, you found a place in Oakland that sells sugarcane and stevia. I'm not surprised that you found a stevia plant in the area, but sugarcane, interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen sugarcane up here in the Pacific Northwest in any of the nurseries, but that's not surprising. We don't really have the climate for it. So, yeah. So, Andre, you didn't know that diabetics can drink alcohol safely because they thought that alcohol turns into sugar. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, they might. I don't know about that. But I know that what Anne-Marie is saying is when you cook the stevia, you soak it in the vodka, but then you cook it down, all of that alcohol evaporates, and you're just left with the compounds that the alcohol has extracted from that stevia. So the syrup that she's talking about doesn't have any alcohol. Now, whether or not alcoholics can drink alcohol, whether or not diabetics can drink alcohol, I don't know about that. But what she was talking about, there's probably little to no alcohol left in that syrup. So, Okay, so here, Anne-Marie Silva says, Andre, that's why you cook it out. Funny thing is he works for a wine group and we have tons of wine. We drink maybe 2 bottles a year and we give a lot away. Oh, you must be the favorite at parties. Like, oh, let's see what wine Anne-Marie brings today. Oh, yes, awesome. Holy crumb. Okay. So, yeah, Terry Gilmore, wings, oxtails, halibut cheeks, and other bits that were once considered castaways are now sought after and pricey. Oxtail is like $10 a pop for a packet of it in my stores. I can't even, makes me so mad. It's just like, but I want to make soup with you, but I don't want to spend $10 just for the bone. Yep. All right then. So, okay, so Shock's got the down low on the diabetics drinking. Yeah, the problems are with beer or wine, and that's the carbs, not the alcohol. Diabetics who want to drink will often use whiskey or something like that. Oh, that makes sense. Anne-Marie Silva, you can grow sugarcane in Northern California. You remember you first found it in San Francisco's farmer market and you taught your 2 oldest grandbabies how to walk using sugarcane as a treat. That is so cute. So yeah, Shock, I figure it sounded like you were speaking from absolute experience, or coming from a very secure knowledge base with what's up with the diabetics who choose to booze, as it were. So thank you for the explanation on that. Yeah, so I guess we are going to wrap this up. It is 6:25 and we've been here almost 2 hours. Chatter with Statter. Cannot believe you guys hang out so long, but I'm so glad that we get to hang out twice a week, Thursdays and Sundays. And I will be super stoked if I can see you all again next Thursday. Don't forget to hit that like button if you want, or the unlike button if you don't. Subscribe if you haven't, but thank you all for everyone who has subscribed. We reached that $100 milestone. We reached the $100 milestone. No, we didn't. We reached the 100 subscriber milestone. And perhaps next time we get to my channel, we get to get a link for a stream. It will have a customized URL, even though I have no idea how to customize my URL with YouTube. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But hopefully by next Thursday, we will have 2 techs conquered. One, I want to get my earphones to work. I know. Earphones. I want to get my earphones to work. And then 2, I'm hoping I'll have that customized URL. So let's cross our fingers that next Thursday, one of those 2 goals will be reached. So I will see you later, Sasquatch. See you later, Andre. I will see you later on Anne-Marie Silva, Shakalak. I will also see you later. And Terry Gilmore, thanks so much for coming back again. I'm super stoked that you were able to visit with us. Cindy Krause, thanks so much for showing face. I am so happy to spend some time with all y'all, and I'm so glad that all y'all like to spend time with all of us. So until then, I will catch you next Thursday. And oh, hey, Lono, thank you for the great compliment. Good to see you showing face. And yeah, I'll see all you all, I guess, on next Thursday. See you laters.